Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So I played just one game of Commander last night, but it was a doozy, so I thought I would give a report of my glorious second place finish and show you the cards that I picked up. I'll show you the cards I picked up first, nothing amazing here, and for the most part none of it is going to go into my decks. But first some random red cards. Here's a Cemetery Gatekeeper, just a good red 2-mana creature. I might put this in my Subira Commander deck, but I'm also working on a Group Slug deck. And next is Crackle with Power. And I love these spells where you just pump it full of mana and do direct damage to players. This too I might put in the Group Slug deck. And actually, I started a Moxfield account and I put some decks into there. That would be the Urlock deck that I think I would put this in. I'll link to my Moxfield page in the comments below. And then, here is Shattering Spree, I think it is. My magic friend actually gave this to me, but I lost it, so I just bought it again for myself. Hopefully he doesn't figure out that I lost it. Arguably better than Vandal Blast. Every red you spend, you can copy the spell to destroy another artifact, so if you need to destroy just 2, you can save yourself some mana. And then if it's counterspelled, only the one copy of it will get counterspelled, and so they'll need to counter multiple copies if they want to stop it all. Then Mechanized Warfare for more damage in the Group Slug deck. Alright, and then I got this, very excited. This is the last foil Lord of the Rings map land that I need to complete that collection. So now I have them all, and I want to get some kind of like a display to show these off. Very happy about that. And then I got some blue cards, including some clones for my Vren Rats deck. That's also on Moxfield. This is another room from Duskmourn. One side is 3 mana to make a copy. I'd want to make a copy of one of my rats just so that they can all buff each other. And then the other side, I think it's a triggered ability would go off again if this is unlocked. I'm not sure if that would, do the triggered ability again for Vren to create 2 rats, but if it did, that would be cool. I'll try to test it in Arena, since that's all programmed to follow the rules. And then, got another Silent Hall Creeper. I think this is my 2nd or 3rd copy. I can use these in both my Riga deck. He wants the 1-power attackers that can't be blocked. But Vren also likes clones, so I got another copy of that. And then here, this is another 2-sided card with a land on the back. This is maybe the one that has the best reputation, Sink into Stupor. You can return a spell to hand as it's being cast. So kind of a light counterspell. Or you can bounce a non-land permanent, so kind of strong. And then the option of it being a land, pretty good. I don't have any plans to put this in a deck right away. Maybe Vren, I don't know. And then I got this for my Riga deck. I don't know if I'm actually going to use it though. It's an enchantment, 1 in a white. If you play it, you can look at the top card of your library at any time, which is nice. And then once per turn, you can play a creature with power 2 or less. Of course, my deck is full of creatures with power 2 or less, but I draw so many cards that I might not actually need this. I might be only using it to look at the top card of my library, which is helpful, but I don't know. For now, I haven't put it in there. And then I got some tokens. Here's a blood token. That's pretty cool looking, right? Again, I might make a Shil Gengar deck, which wants blood tokens, so I can use that. I found this, another copy of the Vren Rats, which buff each other. So this is now my 4th copy. I've gone to like 24 stores, and still only the 4th copy that I found. To be honest, 4 is probably more than enough, but I don't know, maybe I'll get to half a dozen and then stop. And just for fun, got another rat token, which is also like a thief or something from Kamigawa. And then finally I got this. This is to kind of mark double-sided cards, and this is useful because if you've sleeved your cards and you can't see the back, then this prevents you from having to, take an in and out. and so I can just keep the card in my box and then bring it out when it is played. And I would want to use Westvale Abbey, that bottom one there. Again, oh no, this would be for my Endrick Sar Thrall deck. So the Westvale Abbey could eat those thralls and then turn into a big demon, so that's what that's for. And then I got this. This is like a little plastic case for my Riga commander. And it's roomy enough that I can fit both versions of him. So I have the regular, and I have like the dark version. And this is compact enough that it will fit, oops, into my deck box. Isn't that cool? That was kind of hard to find. I had to go to a lot of stores to find that as well. I guess they're popular, so that was difficult to find. Okay. All right, but let's talk about the Commander game that I played. I went to the store and I signed up for the event, and only 2 people showed up, so the event was canceled. It was just me and another American. He was drunk, and I was like, come on, man, you're representing our country, try a little harder. But we found a 4-man Commander game going on in the back, and we asked if they were up for a 6-man game after they were done, and they were, surprisingly. I was hesitant to play a 6-man game. I was worried it would go like 3 hours or something, but I wanted to play something, and it ended up only taking 1 hour, so that was good. But yes, I played my Riga Stadium deck, which I have showcased with Arena multiple times. But here I took out all the non-land tutors, stacks, pitch spells, and counter spells. I've decided that I would rather not play with tutors because in games I like to embrace the luck side of things, and tutors get around that. With stacks, I really want to play my deck a lot and see the different metas first to see how well it does without it. I'm thinking maybe another 24 matches will do it. If like the power level is too high and then I do need it, then I'll put it in then. And then pitch spells are kind of the same thing. They're just too powerful, and I realized this by using them on Arena. And one aspect that I like about Magic is sort of like incomplete information, like being able to look at someone's board state and number of cards in hand and trying to guess like what they could be capable of at instant speed. But pitch spells kind of kick the legs out from under that, makes judgment less reliable. And then for counter spells, I have nothing against them, and if people want to use them against me, that's fine. But I find that when I have them in hand, I freeze up, and I can't make a decision because with so many other players, I don't know what is the smart choice. If it's a 1 versus 1 game, then it's easy, but in multiplayer, I just get paralyzed, so I took them out just to free up my headspace, make my experience more enjoyable. But I did leave in the 1-power creatures that sacrifice to counter as a backup utility. Their main purpose is still going to be to trigger Riga's ability with attacks, but have that backup utility. The way that I win is getting out lots of creatures and pumping them, and maybe using Strixhaven Stadium to instantly take someone out. Alright, another player in the 6-man group used Satya, who I really like. I see tons of potential in him. He can create copies of guys, so anyone with an enters the battlefield effect can do that again. He had out a Skyclave Apparition, so he was exiling like opponents' Professional Facebreaker and Sword of Fire and Ice, stuff like that. Very powerful. Next was a guy new to Magic, borrowing a deck. He was playing a mono-white cat equipment deck with Balan, Wandering Knight, as his commander. I never knew about this anime artwork, but that looks pretty cool. He got out various swords, like the previously mentioned Sword of Fire and Ice, Sword of the Animist, Sword of Sinew, and Steel. He also had out a Pure Steel Paladin, and was drawing lots of cards off of that. The next guy was playing a Sliver deck with the first Sliver as commander, and he had the Secret Lair version that looks like an Alien movie poster. That was also very cool. He got out a Bone Scythe Sliver and a Horn Sliver for both Double Strike and Trample. That was pretty scary. And then the last 2 guys, including the Drunk American, used Evereth, a new legendary from Jumpstart. They did lots of aristocrats things, as you might expect. And I took some photos of my board state. This is turn 4. I didn't miss any land drops all games. That was a good way to kind of keep track of what turn it was. I went second and I put out the Toppelgeist. Not a great first turn play. Second turn, I put out the Beast Caller Savant. That was a good play, got some ramp in there. And then turn 3, I put out Riga, attacked, drew a card, and turn 4, I played the Gold Forged Thopteryx and gave Riga Ward 2. I also put out the Viridian Revel enchantment, which allows me to draw a card anytime anyone puts an artifact in their graveyard, so the 2 Evereth players were suddenly reluctant to do their treasure shenanigans. Everyone was surprised this card existed. It's from Scars of Mirrodin and not super well known, but with the passage of time, the addition of treasure and clue and food and blood and map tokens, it's become excellent. I only actually drew 4 or 5 cards over the course of the game with it, but that's a great rate for 3 mana. Then, this is a shot of turn 6, and I kind of exploded here. Got some artifacts in Sol Ring and Dolmen Gate. Sol Ring is Sol Ring, but Dolmen Gate makes my attackers invincible, so I could just throw attackers anywhere with no worries, so I was suddenly drawing 4 or 5 cards off of Riga's triggers every turn. And after drawing bunches of cards, I dropped bunches of creatures like the Solana Ledgewalker, Lion Sash, Jolrael, Siren Stormcaller, and Gingerbrute. So I had a pretty full board presence, but I don't think it was especially threatening. They were all 1 power that didn't really do anything, and everyone pretty much left me alone. Maybe I just had too many guys and they didn't know which one to go after. There was the 7/7 Double Strike Trample Silver. There was the 2 Evereths getting bigger every turn. There was the Double Strike Cat with Scary Swords, so maybe I didn't look as much of a threat. Speaking of the Evereths, they were pinging everyone every turn, so they were drawing a lot of attention, while I was just hitting people for 1 damage a turn. I was kind of in the best position, which is like 2nd place, not the biggest threat, but still in a good position to win. And I am ashamed to admit it, but I accidentally saw a card draw of the Japanese Evereth player, and it was Burn Down the House. That would have pretty much cleared my board of creatures, but he went 2 or 3 turns with it and never used it. I wonder if it was because he was sandbagging and giving me a break, or because he knew it would not be enough to take down the Sliver and the Drunk American's Evereth, and using it would tip the scales in their favor. I was actually half wanting him to use it. I wanted to see how resilient my deck was, and how quickly I could get back to a full board of little guys. And I remember the hand that I had at turn 6, Tamio's Safekeeping and 6 lands. I was saving the Safekeeping for Jolrael. If Burn Down the House or anything else targeted Jolrael, that would come out, because she was my win condition at this point. And the 6 lands were not a problem, because next turn I drew 5 off of Riga's attack triggers and discarded most of the lands to get me down to hand size. So yeah, my deck was working great. But funnily enough, I didn't draw any removal. No sweepers, no creatures that sacrificed to destroy something. Alright, and then here is the last board state photo after the game concluded on turn 7. The Drunk American was at 40 life, and everyone else was in the low teens. I saw a way to take out multiple players, or take out just the Drunk American, but I had an inner debate. Do I really want to kill everyone? Do I really want to focus down one guy? I don't want to leave a bad first impression on these folks, but then this is kind of like what my deck is designed to do, and when am I going to have this chance to be able to do this again? I'm not a competitive person, so I don't care about winning, but I did see the opportunity to do something cool, so I just put my head down and went through with it. But I had 8 cards in hand. I attacked with everyone but Riga, drew 5 cards to go up to 13 cards in hand, and then I activated Jolrael's ability to make my creatures have base stats equal to my cards in hand, so all my little 1/1s suddenly became 13 13s. I sent a flyer against players who had no flying blockers and knocked them out, and I sent multiple attackers against the other players who did have blockers, and I knocked out 4 players in all with that attack. That left me and the Drunk American. I was thrilled that my deck could make such a monumental play. It really hadn't done anything notable in paper up to that point, but I always believed in it, and it was gratifying to see it actually work. Unfortunately, I dumbly left no blockers, and Drunk American killed me on his turn with a combination of attacks and Aristocrat's triggers. I was too excited in the moment to consider what would happen afterwards. Looking back, I probably could have killed the Drunk American along with everyone else if I were more careful and had assigned my attackers better. But whatever, I was still satisfied with the game experience. One thing I could have done was discarded cards more selectively, fulfill the delirium requirement on the Doppelgeist, and then tap a bunch of the opponent's creatures and clear the way for my attacks, but I didn't think of it at the time. Oh well, hopefully, lesson learned. One thing I regret was not explaining Jorale and her board pumping ability as I played her. Japanese players are generally very knowledgeable about all the cards, and Jorale was a semi-famous card at one time, but I shouldn't have assumed since it was the linchpin of my plan. If I meet them again, I'll ask if I should have done that. I feel like I should have. Maybe it would have been better manners. But actually, I think the way things played out prevented a feels bad aftertaste because no one felt picked on, everyone was in the same boat, and then the person that took out most of the table got immediately taken out for his own hubris. I saw smiles all around after the game. Most players got to quote-unquote do the thing, and people were saying how fun the game was. And the game only lasted about an hour. That's pretty good for a 6-player game, if I do say so myself. Alright, so that is my report of my last game. I'm actually going to go back to the Yokohama store and then play some more games today. If they're interesting at all, I'll make a report about that too. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.